Koiki Media, we're bringing the world closer to your doorstep.
Koiki Media, Koiki Media, Koiki Media, we bringing the world closer to your doorstep.
Koiki Media, Koiki Media, Koiki Media, we bringing the world closer to your doorstep.
Àwọn sálára àgbà yìí dá, àwa ló láṣà àti èdè. Gbígbéde lárugẹ nílẹ̀ Oòduà o, àwa gangan ni bàbá.
Koiki Media, Koiki Media, Koiki Media, we bringing the world closer to your doorstep.
They never sabi wetin we carry for her.
But e dey move closer before dem go sabi.
I said they never know wetin we carry for body.
But e dey move closer before dem go sabi.
Ọ̀kín lọ lọ́jà ẹyẹ, ìníhùn ló ló lajú.
Ẹyẹ tó lórí kodò bí àdánwò àpẹẹrẹ lẹ́nu.
Ká ṣiṣẹ́ fún ilẹ̀ bàbá wa, ká ṣiṣẹ́ fún ìlú bàbá wa, ká jùmọ̀ sowọ́pọ̀ ká lè tó dúdú àga.
Odùduwà kò bá lè gbé wa.
Ọmọ Odùduwà ṣe gírí. Ẹ dìde fún ẹ̀tọ́ adúláwọ̀, ká lè jọ jùmọ̀ gbé délẹ̀ ìlérí. Káwa lè gba ògo ilẹ̀ wa, ká ṣiṣẹ́ ká lè jọ gbàdé, ká lè gbàdé adé adúláwọ̀. Àwa ni ìmọ̀lẹ̀ tí yóò tàn káàkiri.
Ọmọ Odùduwà ni wá.
Koiki Media, àwa là ń gbé tó lárugẹ.
Ètò tó gbójú ògbó tí wàá máa ní.
Kásá ẹgbẹ́ polówó ọjà wá kájé bùgbà yín jẹ.
Ètò tó gbójú ògbó tí wàá máa ní.
À ń gbé tó lárugẹ, à ń gbàsà lárugẹ.
Ètò tó gbójú ògbó tí wàá máa ní.
News and sports ẹ máa rí gbọ́.
Ètò tó gbójú ògbó tí wàá máa ní.
Ọmọ Ìjẹ̀bú alárẹ̀ mi ló ní kí n máa ké tantan. Koiki Media ọ̀rọ̀ lágbájúmọ̀ mi o, máa bá ṣẹ̀rẹ̀ lọ o. Ọmọ Yorùbá nìyẹn, ọmọ Yorùbá tata o. À ń gbádùn rẹ, ọmọ Ìjẹ̀bú alárẹ̀ mi, ṣẹ́yìn ló máa fi dìbò tẹ̀ mọ́lẹ̀ o. Ẹ̀yin lọ́mọ onígbò máa ń dé mádémádé, ẹ̀yin lọ́mọ onígbò máa wọ̀ o. Igbó máa wọ̀ gbàjòjì ò gbọ́dọ̀ wọ, àjòjì tó bá wọ bẹ́ẹ̀ á tẹ̀lé ní ẹbọra. Ẹ̀yin lọ máa náwó kóyìnbó tó dé, ìgbà tó yìnbó dé o, owó náà dẹ́ tún pọ̀ sí o. Koiki Media ṣàwa ní bàbá. Koiki Media àwọn ní bàbá.
Koiki Media àwọn ní bàbá.
Àdáńtọ́ àtúnpèrègèdè.
Koiki Media àwọn ní bàbá.
Àwa là ń gbé tò lárugẹ, jẹ́ ká jọ gbọ́ o.
Koiki Media àwọn ní bàbá.
Àkúnjà fẹ́tọ̀ ilẹ̀ wa, fẹ́tọ̀ ilẹ̀ Yorùbá.
Koiki Media àwọn ní bàbá.
Ọmọ Oòduà ni wá o, tọkàntọkàn.
Koiki Media àwọn ní bàbá.
Ikú tí ó ṣe bí lébi òsì, àdìmú bàbá iyọ̀.
Koiki Media àwọn ní bàbá.
We bring you work closer to your doorstep.
Koiki Media àwọn ní bàbá.
Afẹ́fẹ́ tó ń fẹ́ òòdùn kan ní oko lára ni.
Koiki Media àwọn ní bàbá.
Àpèrègèdè Olódùmarè ló fún wa ṣe.
Koiki Media àwọn ní bàbá.
Gbogbo ayé ẹ gbọ́, àwa ní bàbá o.
Koiki Media àwọn ní bàbá.
Ẹ máa bọ̀ wá ẹgbẹ́ polówó ọjà yín wá o.
Koiki Media àwọn ní bàbá.
Odùduwà lágbèdá ní, òtítọ́ lágbèdá ní.
Koiki Media àwọn ní bàbá.
A kì í sọ̀dálẹ̀, a kì í sóníkèéta.
Koiki Media àwọn ní bàbá.
A dúró tán, a tún pèrègèdè.
Koiki Media àwọn ní bàbá.
Koiki Media will bring you work closer to your doorstep.
Àwọn ní bàbá.
Koiki Media is around.
To give us latest.
Is around.
To give us latest.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Ẹ mú kalẹ̀ sílẹ̀. Ẹ tẹ́tí ẹ gbọ́ ètò tó kojú gbogbo.
ladies and gentlemen,
Ẹ mú kalẹ̀ sílẹ̀. Ẹ tẹ́tí ẹ gbọ́ ètò tó kojú gbogbo.
Koiki Media is around.
To give us latest.
Koiki Media.
The security crisis in Benue State. Your Excellencies, it is not header farmers clashes, it's not repressor attacks or skirmishes. It is this misinformation that has led to suggestions such as remain tolerant, negotiate for peace, learn to live with our neighbors. What we are dealing with here in Benue is a calculated, well-planned, genocidal invasion and land-grabbing campaign by header terrorists and bandits, which has been on for decades and is worsening every year. Wrong diagnosis will always lead to wrong treatment. So we are dealing with something far more sinister than we think about. It's not learning to live with your neighbors. It is dealing with a war. The second apprehension, Your Excellency, we have is the politicization of politics. Are busy politicizing the crisis, passing blames instead of joining hands to address the crisis. We hear there are some politicians who will even prefer that the crisis should worsen. Your Excellency, this is unfortunate, and any politicians that prays for more people to die for such a project is against the wishes of the people of Benue State. Appeal. Your Excellency, Benue State has made a lot of sacrifices to keep this country united. Many of our people died during the Civil War. We paid the supreme price for this country to keep this country united. Why should we be treated like this? This, what you have come to condole us, is just one in a series of several massacres in this state. What has Benue State done to merit what we are going through? We appeal to you to end the genocide going on.
She Wow. A very good morning and welcome to Koiki Media Studio from Africa, London, and Yoruba land. Moki gbogbo wa lẹ́ẹ̀kan sí pé it is exactly 14 minutes past 3 a.m. and I welcome you once again to the broadcast. And it's also the 8th day into the Yoruba Nation mega rally as instructed by the leader of the Yoruba Nation, Professor Adebanji Akintoye. Mo kí gbogbo ọmọ Yorùbá káàkiri gbogbo ibi tí ẹ bá ti darapọ̀ mọ́ wa, mo kí yín pé ẹ káàárọ̀ àtúnkàbọ̀ sórí ìkànnì náà níbi tí a ti ń gbé ètò wá fún gbogbo ọmọ Yorùbá nílé àti lóko. Mo ní good morning and welcome back again to the channel. Gẹ́gẹ́ bí a ti ṣe mọ̀, a ti wà nínú rally tí wọ́n ní ká máa bá lọ títí tí information tún máa fi gorí ẹ̀. So mo kí gbogbo wa pé káàbọ̀ sórí ìkànnì wa ní aago 3 òru èní 19th June 2025. I say good morning and welcome. I want us to look at the topic this morning. And let us start telling Tinubu to make up his mind. It is still not yet late, even though it is almost late. For as long as the current president believes that he can push Nigeria into another election, then we should expect the worst case scenarios. We're going to go back to what are the indices when we have a failed state. But let me first appreciate the leader of the Yoruba Nation Self-Determination, Professor Adebanji Akintoye, Dr. Chief Sunday Adeyemo Igboho, and the 2 deputies and all the committees of the Yoruba Self-Determination Movement, the YSDM. Kudos to all the platforms that are working around the clock to make sure that millions of Yoruba people are aware of why it is important that Nigeria needs to be dissolved. The longer we try to save it, the more it's going to bring setback to the 60 million Yoruba people. So under the leadership of Professor Akintoye, we're grateful for putting it out there to the current president that in the interest of the 60 million people to go into what can be a catastrophic and a disaster, that President Bola Tinubu should do the needful and dissolve Nigeria before it becomes the next Yugoslavia. Last month, before the Benue attack, Professor Akintoye sent a letter to the sitting president. Professor Akintoye made it known to the current president of Nigeria that he should not wait until Nigeria and Nigerians start fighting each other. And the probability of that is getting closer. and we might end up having a situation where blood are spilled across many states within Nigeria. My duty is to continue to tell the international community that quite a lot of warning has been in the public domain for more than 2 decades that Nigeria is a failed state. But the international community decided to look away while Nigerians continue to suffer the consequence of this failed state. Also, as the Yoruba nation movement continue to gain what will eventually give 60 million Yoruba people the privilege to live in a country without fear, to live in a country where they can be respected without any kind of security, intimidation, human rights, welfare, good life. All these are the reasons that under the leadership of Professor Akintoye, that he has asked President Bola Tinubu in a letter dated May 25, 2025, and a previous one that was sent last year, April, and the one that was sent prior before Tinubu to the previous President Muhammadu Buhari. And in all these letters, Professor Akintoye, the national leader of the Yoruba self-determination movement, warned both the former president and likewise President Bola Tinubu, the sitting president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, that the Yoruba people have made up their mind, and under the United Nations Charter and the African Union, that Nigeria is a signatory, that we would love to have the federal government of Nigeria under the sitting president, President Bola Tinubu, to set up a committee while the Yoruba Nation self-determination movement will also, at any given time on a standby, can negotiate a peaceful exit of the millions of the Yoruba people, 60 million plus the diaspora, without a bloodshed. But it seems that the current president continues to live in denial rather than face the reality that this country that was created in 1914, amalgamation, has come to where the unity is no longer visible across every part of Nigeria. But it is sad that 60 million Yoruba people will have to witness exactly what was witnessed during the Yugoslavia should His Excellency President Bola Tinubu refuse to dissolve Nigeria in time before 2027. The current president seems to be advised wrongly that the next election, that the tendency of that happening with the amount and the influx of the insecurity currently in the country is not likely to happen. Should the president refuse and allow a peaceful dissolution, then the tendency of millions of people to die is likely. So what we are doing on this platform, Koiki Media, is to continue to put it on record that as much as Tinubu is a Yoruba man, he might likely face a lot of persecution in the near future should Nigeria become the next Yugoslavia. President Bola Tinubu must understand that the 60 million out of the 240 million that are Yorubas residing in the southwest part of the country have made up their mind to have their own independent country, far away from the current structure of the British amalgamation of 1914. And as we will be reminding the president again, that any sort of intimidation across the Yoruba land during this peaceful rally of the indigenous people, while the rally continues in its 8th day, should any security operatives, the DSS, the Nigerian police, and any other security threatening any indigenous Yoruba people in the Southwest, then there will be some serious consequences that is going to take place. As we continue to advise our people back home to push further as instructed by the leader of the national movement, that the Yoruba mega rally should continue. And this is also some serious warning to all the governors across the state that the Yoruba people are doing exactly their right, and no form of intimidation or persecution should occur throughout the rallies in any part of the Yoruba land, from Lagos to Ogun State, to Oyo State, to Osun State, Ondo State, Ekiti State, Kogi State, and Kwara State. Should anyone be arrested or intimidated, there will be serious consequence to such. And that is the reason why A letter was sent ahead to the sitting president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. And the letter goes like this. The Yoruba Self-Determination Movement, a public letter to His Excellency President Bola Tinubu, the President of Nigeria, dated May 25, 2025. Your Excellency, President of Nigeria, and the most eminent son of our Yoruba nation today, we, your people and kinsmen, representing millions of Yoruba people in Yoruba land in Nigeria and the Yoruba diaspora across the world, have the honor to address this letter to you. We hope and pray that it meets you in good health and high spirit. We write it to bring to your attention and to seek your intervention over some concerns of your Yoruba people. First, Your Excellency, we, your people, are seriously concerned about certain directions in the operation of the authority of the Nigerian police, the Directorate of the State Security, and other federal security agencies. Among us, Yoruba people of the southwest of Nigeria and of Kwara and Kogi State. These federal agencies tend to view all Yoruba youth as insurgents or terrorists, even though everybody knows, including the president as he visited Benue State yesterday, the 18th of June 2025. As we speak today, no single arrest has been made, according to the president himself during his visit to Benue State. While the president was making his visit, the president was asking a failed Inspector General of Police that represents a failed country, while no arrest has been made since many attacks on innocent Nigerians. But Nigeria police are quick to act and arrest innocent Yoruba people that have done nothing wrong apart from asking for their right to self-determination. There is a genocide playing out currently in the country, and many knows this, and this is why we are putting it out there again tonight at the early hours of this morning from Koiki Media, under the leadership that there will be a serious consequence should any one of our Yorubas that are currently putting out their voice in a country where killings and the economy that died, the welfare of our people is no longer guaranteed under this government and Nigeria as a whole. The economic hardship, the pain will never end soon. The death of many will occur even after the visit of the president will make no terrorist attack that continue not just in Benue State, in Plateau State, in Oyo State, where there was a terrorist attack in Bodija that led to multiple deaths and destructions of lives and property. We also remember those that were killed in a terrorist attack and a bomb attack at the St. Francis Church, Catholic Church in Ondo State in 2022. And like I said, not a single arrest. We try to understand that there can never be an arrest because the Fulanis have made it known that they own Nigeria and they will do exactly whatever they feel to kill, maim, destroy, and also Islamize Nigeria. President Bola Tinubu knows quite well that not a single person can be arrested because the Sultan of Sokoto would not give access for his clan, as President Buhari, the former president, made it known as well, that no Fulani can be arrested because their right must be respected. And as you can see from the channel's television, as this is being documented today on Koiki Media, the 19th of June 2025, at exactly 3:35 a.m. in the morning. Benue State killing, let's get those criminals. The president continued to refuse to accept that these are not criminals. These are full-blown Fulani terrorists that are going to kill 60 million Yoruba people should we do nothing. Tinubu tells the service chief, the Inspector General of Police, to do what? To go after those that have also killed, maimed, destroyed, looted the military barracks. President Bola Tinubu knows quite well, as being stated in the letter, that the right of the Yoruba people should be respected during this very tough time, that we want to ease our pain after 110 years of a fraudulent 1914 amalgamation. And any kind of intimidation, any kind of arrest can also lead to a serious consequences that can generate into chaos, crisis, and anarchy. And we are using this opportunity not to beg this administration, but to put it on record that any Yorubas that are out there as instructed by the leadership of Professor Akintoye that is arrested, there will be serious consequences to such an arrest. Again, the current president knows quite well that not a single Fulani terrorist can be arrested because they have proved that Nigeria belongs to them. And this is why we continue to say to the 60 million Yoruba people to continue their peaceful rally as instructed, as we are now on the day 8. And there should not be any arrest. Because as we speak today, as the president left Benue State, as Benue continue to cry, as Nigerians continue to cry, there will be no peace and unity among Nigerians, because Nigeria is not a country. There are many nations in Nigeria, and that is why, in the interest of moving forward the current administration must now move the motion to dissolve Nigeria now. Should that not happen, I will explain what is likely to happen. Let's listen to President himself, Tinubu, as he was asking some questions yesterday.
To the men and women of the armed forces, the security forces, the police, thank you for the good job you have been doing and what you are still doing to keep our citizens safe and our country more respected. I know you've sacrificed so many lives. I've watched some of your comments. So many nights and stay in the bush. Sacrifice your time. I salute all of you. I say thank you very much.
Well, that is what a leader that represents 240 million people can say in the midst of a failed state. President Bola Tinubu, as I stated back in the letter that was sent to you, that there has been a lot of intimidation in the past for many decades. And also as the Yoruba nation self-determination kickstart precisely about 5 years ago. These security agencies among us in the southwest of Nigeria, the federal agency tend to view all the Yoruba nation youth as insurgents or terrorists. But this administration knows quite those that are terrorists and those that are insurgents, because evidence has pointed on many occasions that for any country that is a failed state, there are indices that indicate such. Let us go back before we come back again to the letter, because I am backing this Professor Akintoye's letter with evidence that is out there in the public domain that Nigeria remain a failed state and there will be no changes to that until the country dissolves. But for the Yoruba elite, the Yoruba politicians and the Yoruba kings that are living in denial, what happened in Benue State is going to be a child's play to what we should expect in Yoruba land should we refuse to dissolve quickly away from Nigeria. Let us look at this article that was put out 3 years ago on the UK Guardian, and the headline says, and I quote, "Failed state with a question mark. While Nigeria fragile democracy is facing uncertain future." This was before the death of innocent Nigerians by the Fulani terrorists, the Boko Haram, that took place in Benue State on the 15th that led to over 300 innocent lives to be taken out. Let's just listen to some of the cry of these innocent Nigerians, according to a video that was obtained by Koiki Media when a human rights activist, very dark man, visited Benue State on Sunday the 16th. What we saw and what many heard has become a nightmare that reminded us of what exactly happened as well during the massacre at the St. Francis Church in Ondo State in 2022. We will not be able to show you the video because they are too graphics, but let us listen to the audio coming from very dark man that has now made many media around the world, including the routers, to make use of this video as an evidence against President Bola Tinubu, and that can end up at the International Criminal Court because nobody has been arrested. And as the Yoruba nation continue to push, should there be any form of attack against us, these are also evidence that will be presented to the United Nations, the Human Rights Commission, the African Union, that our right to self-determination must now be accepted since the current administration failed to do the needful to protect lives and properties of Yoruba people, and that is the reason why we cannot sit behind while attacks continue. Let's listen to this current video that was dated the 16th of June 2025, sorry, the 15th. The incident occurred between the mid-morning of the 14th of June, lasted for 3 hours plus, according to the Eyewitness. The message is Nigeria is a failed state because of this video that you can only hear the sound clip.
Live in Yelewata in Benue State, where the attack took place yesterday, that claimed the lives of over 200 persons. The headsman attack. Now, what my eyes have seen, my mouth cannot speak unless you will see it by yourself. So please follow me this camera. Now, if you notice something, you can see the smoke still coming out because everywhere was burnt. Please take the camera around. Now, let me show you this thing. Please. This video is very sensitive, so it might be very disturbing for you. So a warning is on the video. Thank you. Now, these are human beings. This is the child that was burnt to ashes. This is another one. This is number 2. This is number 3. This is number 4. Please. This is number 4. This is 5. This is 6. Now look at the score of this one. This is 7.
For those that probably might not have seen this video before, these are humans being children burnt to death in their sleep by the Fulani terrorists. And this is the reason, and many others, why the Yoruba people are currently out on the day 8, pushing for the final exit out of Nigeria before these terrorists get closer more into the southwest, even though they continue to operate across the southwest, kidnapping, maiming, killing innocent Yoruba people and those that are traveling into Yoruba land, that is the southwest of Nigeria.
These are their bones. These are children.
These are children, as you heard there. And also, this was the reason why the current Pope spoke from Rome on Sunday before the Mass about the killings
nell'area amministrativa locale di Guma, nello stato di Benue, in Nigeria, si è verificato un terribile massacro in cui circa 200 persone sono state uccise con estrema crudeltà, la maggior parte delle quali erano sfollati interni, ospitati dalla missione cattolica locale. Prego affinché la sicurezza, la giustizia e la pace prevalgano in Nigeria, paese amato e così colpito da varie forme di violenza. E prego in modo particolare per le comunità cristiane rurali dello Stato di Benue, che incessantemente sono stati vittime della violenza.
We might not have heard what this Pope have said, and this is also one of the reasons why the Yoruba want their own language back in their own independent Yoruba country. But there is a translation in the Vatican news that explain what the Pope was actually saying. And let's quickly go through that. According to the Vatican, on Sunday, posted on their website, "Stop Benue Killing." As you can see, the little young girl that has no hope, just as 60 million Yoruba people has no hope. And we are telling this administration to look into the dissolution now rather than think about another election that is not going to bring any unity or peace. Rather, there will be more genocide. According to it, it says, and I quote, "Nigeria stop killings in Benue State. Nigerian church grateful for Pope Leo's support and prayer over the killings in Benue State." In an editorial for the Nigerian Catholic Network written by the church authority at the Catholic Secretariat of Nigeria, Abuja, has commended Pope Leo, the current Pope, that spoke to about 1 billion people during the Mass in Rome, for his prompt message that the current President Tinubu failed to do so because Tinubu did not speak 48 hours after the death of over 300 people that he said he is the president of. According to the editorial, the Nigerian church appreciates the Pope's closeness to Nigeria over the killings in Benue State. They, however, sharply criticize the silence, inaction, and how Nigerians' authority have often handled this matter as Tinubu continued to call terrorists criminals. And that takes us back again to the letter that was addressed to Tinubu to warn his security agencies across Yoruba land that as the Yoruba people are out there demanding their right, should anyone be picked up, arrested, intimidated during this process, there will be serious consequences to this government, as we would decide matters that will be taken as reason why we are telling the international community that Nigeria is a failed state that is not likely to come back to reality being a country, because it was never a country, because the Yoruba has been existing for more than 14,000 years prior, before Britain decided to amalgamate Nigeria for their own selfish interest. The attacks will continue. Whether Tinubu travels across the 36 states, the Fulani agenda is real. But millions of Yoruba people that are still living in denial, that doesn't want to accept this reality, must now wake up from their slumber before Tinubu put every one of us in a deep mess. There is still a little room to maneuver and exit now. But if we don't exit now, there are going to likely be some serious consequences that could lead to the millions of innocent lives in the southwest and across other parts of Nigeria, where death would eventually occur. And this is evidence to that.
Fulani ethnic militia, the Muslim terrorists, go into Christian villages. They're not coming in with cattle. They're coming in on motorcycles with AK-47s and killing everything that moves, and then destroying and razing the entire village.
And yelling Allahu Akbar while they do it.
Allahu Akbar while doing it. And has nothing to do with climate change. These are nomadic herders that have 500-year-old view of cattle farming. Nigeria was 70% Christian.
Amazing.
Now it's 50-50. It's 50% Muslim, 50% Christian.
Because they've been killing.
Because they have been going back to their systematic jihad. Now, look, Islam has conquered every civilization it's touched since 640 AD through three methods of jihad. One, cultural jihad. We'll move in, we'll blend in with the population as we're a minority. Then they start gaining a population, having lots of kids. Then once they get a population, they do political jihad. All right?
And cultural.
Then cultural jihad. Then after political jihad, once they have the political cover to do the violence, they go into violent jihad and take over territory. And that is how they have systematically taken over all of northern Africa.
Well, and what's particularly interesting when you dig a little deeper is that the Fulani tribe doesn't just exist in Nigeria. They're in Sierra Leone and Senegal and right across the border, right? I mean, throughout the center and east of Africa and west.
And for some magical reason, every country they touch turns into war.
Yes, and when you
turns into genocide and turns into war. Every country that they touch.
You're listening to Koiki Media, bringing the world closer to your doorstep as we continue to tell this current administration not to intimidate, arrest, attack any Yoruba that are currently out there doing exactly what they've been asked to do by the national leader of the Yoruba nation, to demand their right to self-determination. And we are grateful for those that are currently doing exactly what you have been asked to do. There's still room for those of you that are sitting back and waiting to go out there as those that are currently doing on a daily basis as videos are being sent to us, pushing and asking that this country is no longer working, and some of those videos is coming from Osun State. Let's listen to this.
No going back. Ìṣọ̀kan ọmọ Yorùbá. Ó ti tásìkò yìí létí tó lọ. Ẹ jẹ́ kí wọ́n yéèyàn wá jẹ. Òmìnira la ní lọ́wọ́lọ́wọ́ tá wà yìí nílẹ̀ Yorùbá. Ẹ dìde jí gìrì ẹ̀yin ìyá wa kò lè dáṣẹ́ ẹni kò lè dáṣẹ́. Gbogbo wa àgbájọwọ́ báyìí la fi sọ̀yà. Àjèjì ọwọ́ kan ò gbẹrú dórí. No going back.
If everyone is doing exactly what Baba Kitoye have instructed us to do, it will gain more popularity in your state. Presently, across all the Yoruba land, Osun State is the only state that I can confirm is making much effort to the actualization as instructed under the leadership of Abakitoye to go out there and tell everyone about why we are going to exit. This is not awareness, it is a rally, and the rally will eventually lead to the declaration of a Yoruba country. And this is why we put it out again to President Bola Tinubu to warn every security agency not to intimidate these individuals as they continue to mobilize and prepare for our exit. The country is already a failed state, and nothing is going to stop it from changing back into a current system that works. And this is another evidence coming from Osun State again, as day 8 of the Yoruba Nation Mega Rally continue across Yoruba land.
olóde lè lo ògùn lọ ń gbé wa lọ́kùn wọn fẹ́ràn ìjọba wọn tó ń pààyàn tó ti kàwé ìwé wọ́n sì kó àwọn bàbá wa lóko wọ́n pa àwọn ìyá wa sóko nítorí àbúyò ìyá dàda náà mi.
Mà gbowó.
Kà jáde ẹni báyìí sọ̀rọ̀ báyìí ẹni báyìí sọ̀rọ̀ báyìí. Ọ̀dàlẹ̀ very good. Ó ní tùmọ̀ lọ́sọ̀rọ̀. Tí ẹ̀rọ ń jẹ tí ó dẹ̀ pa àpapọ̀ àwọn ẹ̀rọ oko wa jẹ́ àwọn tí ò jà rírì kankan ló kú jẹ́jẹ́ ìdí àwọn ìṣẹ́ pa wọ́n pàkúpa. Ẹ máa bọ̀ lórí àga ní oṣù ọjọ́ kọ̀pálẹ̀ àwọn ọmọ ẹgbẹ́ ìlú
As you can see, the amount of suffering of Yoruba people, looking at the background, the lives of these Yoruba people in Osun State, and also across every Yoruba state. This administration can no longer protect us against the Fulani attacks, cannot give us our identity. And this is why we are now pushing our exit out of Nigeria. The plan to exit is already been activated, and that is why people are out there on a daily basis, has been instructed to do so, as today is the 8th day of the ongoing rally. Let's go to another state, that is Lagos State, Alimosho, for another voice of the Yoruba people that have spoken.
Tó jẹ́ kókó fún wa láti gba òmìnira fún orílẹ̀-èdè wa gẹ́gẹ́ bí àwọn nǹkan tí ó wà nínú ìwé àkọsílẹ̀ yìí a rí kà níbẹ̀ wípé ìran tí wọ́n lè pè ní orílẹ̀-èdè tó gbọ́dọ̀ jẹ́ àwọn ẹ̀yà kan náà tí wọ́n jẹ́ elédè kan tí ìṣe wọn dẹ̀ jẹ́ ẹ̀yọ̀ kan. Bẹ́ẹ̀ náà a tún rí kà nínú ìwé yìí wípé Nàìjíríà, ìlú tí wọ́n pè ní Nàìjíríà ó ti expire láti 2014. Bẹ́ẹ̀ ni wípé wọ́n kọ sínú ìwé yìí wípé ìran Yorùbá rìnrìn àjò láti gba òmìnira. Wọ́n wá kọ sí ìsàlẹ̀ ìwé yìí wípé ǹjẹ́ o mọ̀ pé bí lílo òògùn tó ti bàjẹ́ ó ṣe àkóbá fún ara bó ṣe léwu fún àgọ́ ara wa ni wíwà nínú ìlú tí kò ṣiṣẹ́ mọ́ tó léwu fún ọmọ ènìyàn. Bẹ́ẹ̀ ni òfin ayédèrú ni òfin tí ó so Nàìjíríà papọ̀ ní ọdún 1914. Òfin náà sì ti di òkú ní ọdún 2014. Kí ni ọmọ aládé sì ń ṣe nínú gbogbo ẹrú Nàìjíríà? Wọ́n ń pa ẹ̀kọ́ ìtàn rẹ̀ kí àwọn ọmọ aládé wọ́n lè di ẹrú. Ìwé kíkọ àti ohun àtẹ̀jáde wá láti lẹ́nu bàbá Pòfẹ́sọ̀ Bánjí Adétóyè. Bákan náà ni wípé nínú ìmíràn tó tún wà lọ́wọ́
ewé yẹn.
Wọ́n ní kí a máa ṣe ìgbáradì fún ìwọ́de eléyìí tí ó làmìlaka káàkiri gbogbo àgbáyé tó jẹ́ alálàáfíà. Wọ́n wá sọ àwọn nǹkan tí ó jẹ́ sí pé ó máa jẹ́ ohun ètò àti nǹkan tí ó máa jẹ́ ìrọ̀rùn fún wa tí a bá gba òmìnira. Eléyìí tó jẹ́ àkọ́kọ́ nínú ẹ̀ òun ni wípé tí a bá gba òmìnira wa, èdè Yorùbá ni yóò jẹ́ èdè Yorùbá bí àwọn orílẹ̀-èdè míì ṣe ń sọ èdè wọn tó jẹ́ èdè wọn ní ìlú wọn.
For those that do not understand what these our comrades in Alimosho are saying, they are presenting themselves in a well-organized and systematic way for our preparation to exit the current Nigeria that was amalgamated in 1914. And as you can tell, they have no weapons. They are reading out their right to members of the public in Lagos State, and we do not expect any kind of intimidation or arrest. There will be serious consequences to the state governors, the commissioner for police. What will be the serious consequences will be left off the social media. But let us warn every state governors, as our youth, our elderly, our physical challenge, those that Nigeria has intimidated for over 110 years are now out there asking for the right for the country to be dissolved. Should anyone, and I repeat again, should anyone be picked up, intimidated, arrested, whether as individual, the wife, the children, we will not take it slightly with the state. We would have to activate the consequences in that state, in that local government, in that police station, in that DSS custody, because we have evidence that criminals that should be in the custody are no longer in the custody because they have the influence of the Fulani Caliphate. And one of those individuals, as a reminder for those of us that are watching and those that will have to repeat to watch it later, that there was a particular case of an individual terrorist that was terrorizing Yoruba people in Okeogun, in Oyo State, southwest of Nigeria. For whatever reason, as I speak to you today, this individual was not just released. There was an attack at Ibadan prison, Abolongo precisely, Iskilu, that was Agodi, I believe. Iskilu. There was a prison break. And many Yoruba people have forgotten about these. As I speak to you today, this individual has not yet been found because he was released by his own Fulani terrorist clan. The Oyo State governor failed to protect Yoruba people, and the attack that took place at the Bodija, as we know, could have been planned by some of these Fulani terrorists. And I'm asking again, for how long do we live in a country like this, knowing fully well that it will continue? Oyo jailbreak, our gunmen attack Oyo prison and free over 800 prisoners. As I speak to you today, this was during the former President Muhammadu Buhari. This individual that you're looking at was one of the Fulani terrorist clan operating in Okeogun. Yet, this government and the previous one could not protect our lives, because these are the same individual terrorists that continue to operate across Yoruba land today. Let's look at how the news came out when the Oyo jailbreak occurred, according to the BBC report as at the time. The BBC report made it known that there was an attack, and this was sometimes in October 23rd, 2021. Oyo jailbreak, how gunmen attack Oyo prison and free over 800 prisoners. Nigerian government don't begin look for over 500 prisoners who escape from the medium security custody center for Oyo State. This now after gunmen attack prison facility on Friday night for Abolongo area of the state. Now, as 837 prisoners escaped from this custodial center after the attack took place for the Coronation Center. Who was this person? This was Iskilu Wakilu. We know what Iskilu Wakilu did, and this was the reason why it was stopped after many atrocity, and the Oyo State governor could not prevent a security measure for the lives of innocent Yoruba people. We cannot continue to live like this. Because we know definitely that it will only get worse. Iskilu, a notorious Fulani warlord, was arrested in March 2021, but was free again by his people. Let's look at the Punch newspaper for the reference purpose of this broadcast. 7th of March 2021, you can see the headline. Notorious Fulani warlord Iskilu Wakilu arrested in Oyo State. A joint team of Ibarapa security operatives, including Oodua People Congress Vigilante and other groups, have arrested the notorious Fulani warlord terrorizing Oyo community Iskilu Wakilu. The Punch gathered that Wakilu was arrested after several attempts resulting in a gun battle. There have been reports that Wakilu and his gang were involved in the killings, kidnapping of several people in Ibarapa, Okeogun, Oyo State. Wakilu was now barely 7 days after second in command Isiaka Muhammadu was arrested alongside 4 others. This are one of the reasons, and many, that Babaki Toye is now telling the current president that Nigeria is no longer a country for Yoruba people. Rather than arrest, persecute terrorists, it is innocent Yoruba people that this administration and the previous have continued to intimidate. We are putting this out as a reference to the United Nations, the European Union, and the government around the world, that we are already at the crossroad and we are not going to back down until our demands are met. The current rally might have started at a slow pace, but the end result would be achieved. Warnings are given in advance because of the consequences that can happen. Several warnings has been given to this government and the international community, as a letter that was also sent to London in October last year. And many others complain across different quarters, from the United Nations, the UNPO, the European Union, the African Union, the ECOWAS Court. All these are just evidence to prepare that the Yoruba people have decided to take what belongs to them back. And we have not done anything against the law. As this rally continued to build the momentum, should anyone try within the state, the federal, the Senate to stop it, there will be serious consequences for such. And the consequences mean that our people will not be left behind while they are being intimidated by the federal government. No Yoruba citizens will be left from any manner of intimidation during this process. So for those of you that are out there that are Yorubas and worried and concerned, go ahead and continue to do exactly what you have been asked to do, while the leadership will continue to update through all the media network that the evidence is pointed out that since Nigeria is a failed state, that we're going to explain, and what can lead into when a country is a failed state. Should a country be a failed state, many things will start happening. Those things are currently been happening in Nigeria for the last 20 years, and they are not likely to stop. It did not start during this Tinubu administration, but it has been going on throughout the 20 years of what many thought was a democracy across the Southwest, rather than the politicians to look after the Yoruba people in Nigeria. They have enriched, they have done things that favors themselves, their family, their cronies, and made life difficult for the Yoruba people within Nigeria. And since Babakitoye has already activated what we can call the Yoruba nation self-determination, that is the word that says no going back. During these days and weeks, how long the rally will last that would eventually lead to an independent Yoruba nation will be determined by the leadership of Professor Akintoye and those that works with him. But the fact remains that Babakitoye activated Yoruba nation before President Bola Tinubu became the president, and as letters were presented government that refused to accept our proposal to exit Nigeria in a normal diplomacy negotiation. The same thing is currently being done with this current administration, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, to accept the proposal of the Yoruba people to exit Nigeria. But it seems that this current administration does not want to accept such a proposal. It is not late yet. It can still be done. This is how Igboho went into
10 Darwin Street to petition the British Prime Minister for independence of the Yoruba nation, secession, and self-determination.
And as you can see there, Igboho and also those that traveled with him to present this message to the UK government on behalf of Babakitoye and the 60 million Yoruba people, that everybody understand that Nigeria is now a failed state. This has nothing to do with Tinubu, that he made Nigeria a failed state. But Tinubu cannot stop Nigeria from being a failed state, because it is already a failed state before Tinubu came to power, and it will get worse before Tinubu leaves power. The previous administration protected terrorists within his government, just as Tinubu is losing the grip today as well. President Tinubu is already losing the grip of Nigeria, as we said earlier, with the death of 240 plus. That is what we know, but I'm sure the numbers will be higher than that. Let's go back and listen carefully to how the presentation of the death of people that have names, that have dreams, future children, in England, Scotland, in Wales. Would you tolerate the invasion of terrorists on the Scottish farm as farmers are making their way to the farm? Would the British government that joined Nigeria together look away and do nothing when terrorists attack the UK? We know how the UK government felt in 2006, precisely, when there was a terrorist attack in England, London precisely, that is now known as the London bombing. Sorry, I take that back, 2005, not 2006. There was a serious terrorist attack in 2005, a day that millions of people around the world felt that UK will not bounce back. UK was able to bounce back because they knew, or know rather, the consequences of not protecting their economy should Britain has done nothing. UK economy would have died and paralyzed after that. The Nigerian government cannot save the lives of innocent people because the stakeholders in Nigeria does not want such to happen. So President Bola Tinubu is being deceived by his team on a daily basis and those surrounding him that he can still salvage what died many years ago. But we are saying it again to this administration for the purpose of us all going into a serious war, which is likely to happen. Rather than indigenous people fighting back the Fulanis, and the Fulanis are also going to fight back, and there will be multiple loss of lives. Why not allow this country to dissolve in peaceful way that took place many years ago, according to Professor Akintoye in his letter addressed to you, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu? You are quite aware that what happened in London in 2005, that is known as the London bombing, that took place on the 7th of July 2005, when 4 suicide bombers struck London transport network, killing 52 people and injuring 770 others, some of them life-changing. 3 of the blasts happened on a London underground. Even with the amount of security, there was still a slip of a terrorist attack in the UK in 2005. All these started happening just before 9 a.m. during a rush hour as innocent British citizens were heading to work and all different places. One of those events that started with this terrorist attack was at exactly 8:50 a.m. in the vicinity of Aldgate, Edgware Road, and Russell Square stations. The 4th device exploded at about 9:47 a.m. on a bus that had been diverted via Trafalgar Square in London, close to where the BTP headquarters was, the British Transport Police. terrorist attack does not mind whether you are a Muslim, Christian, Jew, Hindu, non-believer, atheist. All these were part of the 770 people that were affected. And for those Yorubas that are saying otherwise, think about it. Fulani terrorists, when they were killing over 300 people in Benue State, there was also ongoing killing in Enugu State. Enugu State also was attacked just 2 days ago. For how long are we all going to live in this kind of situation? And somebody is talking about 2027. Terrorists are not looking towards 2027, yet your government is talking about 2027. Who is fooling who? 7 killed, 2 missing in a fresh Fulani attack in Enugu, because these are not herdsmen, as we have always been told. There is genocide going on across many states in Nigeria today, yet politicians are already gathering into another election in 2027. The Yoruba people are standing against all the Yoruba politicians, that we will not sit back and allow us to be used for politicking when terrorists are currently doing what they do best, just as they've done in the UK. But UK was now and has been able to nip the bud. Nigeria will not be able to nip the bud by stopping. Not that there is no terrorist threat in the UK as we speak right now. There is still imminent threat to the UK, because the current threat level as we speak today in the United Kingdom stand as we have said it many times on this platform, Koiki Media. According to the terrorism threat level, the national threat level in the UK that is divided into England, Wales, Scotland, and Northern Ireland, has indicated that it is currently substantial. UK have 5 threat level, and it goes like this. Lower, an attack is highly unlikely when it is on low. When it's on moderate, an attack is possibly but not likely. Substantial, which is currently where UK stand as we speak right now, an attack is likely. So UK is still not sleeping with all eyes closed, because the current threat level means that any part of United Kingdom that is known as England, Wales, Scotland, and Northern Ireland, there's likely to be an attack, whether in the daytime, in the morning, in the afternoon. But the UK government is doing everything to protect the lives of their people and many Nigerians that are living in the UK, including the Yorubas. But the question is, can President Bola Tinubu do the same thing in Nigeria? The answer is glaring, and the answer is no. And the reason why the answer is no is because the agenda is real. What agenda? The agenda that the Fulani wants to take Nigeria as their own. They have no land, And land is a precious, there are many Yoruba people that are not in support of Abakitoye. When we talk about land, there has always been land dispute. And the reason why there's a land dispute is because of the atrocities committed by the Europeans in Africa. The only way we can stop this land dispute is when we have a Yoruba country and we can protect our borders and make life a meaningful one for millions of Yoruba people. Should anyone be talking about 2027, you're likely pushing Tinubu to where Nigeria will lead itself into a disaster. Let's remind President Tinubu some of the reasons why we want to exit Nigeria, in case he's not aware anymore. Let me remind Tinubu that when is he going to visit Enugu State? Because there was also 7 innocent lives, as this life also is valuable as the ones that died in Benue State. Suspected Fulani terrorists have killed at least 7 residents, leaving 2 others missing during an invasion of Agu Ama Autonomous Community in Ema Amufo Ise Uzu local government area of Enugu State. As the one in Benue State was happening in the middle of the morning on Sunday, this one happened in a broad daylight at exactly 16:30 local time. The attack, which occurred on Sunday around 4:30 p.m., has left residents in shock and fear. According to Eyewitness, these terrorists were dropped from helicopters. You heard it right. That means the terrorists have now advanced by having an helicopter. Who is assisting them? How did they have access to the Nigerian airspace? Should we have a Yoruba country, we can protect and defend our airspace as it is currently being done as the war between Iran and Israel. Both are defending their airspace, and all the countries that are close by, like Jordan and many other countries in that region. But today, it is not new that we are hearing helicopters being used by terrorists. But according to Eyewitness in Enugu State, terrorists were being dropped from the helicopter like a movie. They also hover over the community until after the attack. That means there was a kind of a backup. Yoruba people that are still clamoring for election in 2027. This is just to give you what is coming. We are not surprised to hear that helicopter is now being used. But let's go back as we continue to review the Benue, Enugu, and many attacks. But again, very dark man again in this audio clip. I cannot show you the video. It's too gruesome. But for just educational purpose and for records that the Yoruba people want an exit out of Nigeria for some of these reasons.
The attack took place yesterday that claimed the lives of over 200 persons. The herdsmen attack. Now, what my eyes have seen, my mouth cannot speak unless you do see it by yourself. You see coming out because everywhere was burnt. Please take the camera around. Now, let me show you this thing. Please. This video is very sensitive, so it might be very disturbing for you. So a warning is on the video. Thank you. Now, these are human beings. This is the child that was burnt to ashes. This is another one. This is number 2. This is number 3. This is number 4. This is number 4. This is 5. This is 6. Now look at this color of this one. This is 7. These are their bones. These are children that were born in this place. As I am counting now, is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Just in this room alone. Look at their bones. Look at their bones. Please zoom in these bones. These are their bones. Now in this room again. This is another one. 1, 2, 3. Their bones as well. They were burnt. They were all burnt to ashes. Now let's go outside. Now this is another room again. This is another room. This one you can see. This one is still even very much fresh. The body is still very fresh. It's another room again. This is another place. Please come. See their bones? Get it. See bone. This is the bone of a human being. See, this is a child. This is a child. See another one. These are children. These are children that were massacred here, burnt to ashes here. Now, the reason why I came here, I'll go and interview some of the persons that were there, that witnessed everything, that can explain. The reason why I came is, one thing I've noticed is that it seems the government don't know what is happening. Maybe because it is not in their faces yet. I don't know why back in the day, when things like this happen, the news, the media bring it to our faces.
The media in Nigeria are all corrupt and does not want to speak the truth to power. So if anyone is expecting any Nigerian media to tell you that Nigeria is now a failed state and is not going to become the country that we have been told lies by Britain, that by 2075, Nigeria will be the 5th largest economy, they are living in cocoon. There are many evidence that has pointed out, and this evidence continue as we share another backup evidence, as we pray for those that died in Benue State and Enugu and across Nigeria, that it is time now that everybody accept the truth. That the country you love so much will not protect you, will not defend you, and I can assure us that in the next couple of days, we'll be hearing more death coming out again from somewhere by the Fulani terrorists, because as they're attacking Kwara State, they're attacking, kidnapping, maiming, raping, destroying the Yoruba economy, and all these reasons makes it that Nigeria is a failed state. I have that evidence that back it up, but let's use this video coming from Arise News for the purpose of this broadcast at exactly 4:43 a.m., the 19th of June, 2025. Koiki Media bringing the world closer to our doorstep. Let us hear from the presentation from the presenter and the guest that was brought to talk about this, Reverend Fred Patrick Alumuku, the Director of Communication, the Catholic Archbishop, the Catholics in Abuja. I do not have a copyright to this video.
Latest in yet another wave of attacks between cattle herders and farmers, violence that has simmered for years and which the authorities have struggled to contain. Nigeria's National Emergency Management Agency says it's working with aid agencies to help thousands of people displaced by the violence in a territory where the majority Muslim north meets the predominantly Christian south. The Catholic pontiff, Pope Leo, has joined millions of Nigerians in mourning what the Vatican called a brutal massacre. President Tinubu called the recent upsurge in attacks depressing and inhuman. He is due to visit Benue State on Wednesday, his first visit there since coming to office 2 years ago. So what can he do to bring peace to Benue State and the rest of the Middle Belt region? Well, from all this, I'm joined now in the studio by Reverend Father Patrick Alumuku, OON, Director of Communications at the Catholic Archdiocese of Abuja, and Father Alumuku is from Benue State. Thank you very much indeed for joining us.
Thank you so much.
Good to see you again.
Thank you so much, Charles.
What's your reaction to this recent upsurge in violence in your home state of Benue?
Charles, is a situation that is lamentable, unacceptable, could have been taken care of ahead of time. One event too many. The state of Benue has suffered a lot in the past number of years, not just in the past 2 years under this administration, but in successive administrations, one thought this would be taken care of. I want to thank Pope Leo XIV tonight for the awareness creation, because the whole world is abuzz. The media is talking about it. Today I received calls from Germany, from Italy, from France. There are people who want to come and visit. There are journalists who want to come and see what is happening here to report back to their people. I want to thank the United Nations for their voice today to say this is unacceptable, and the United Nations Secretary General who has spoken. I want to thank the Amnesty International, who says that justice must be made to bear in this circumstance. It's a situation that I think as a nation we must work towards ensuring that it's brought to an end.
And when you mentioned that all these people are phoning you from abroad.
When this individual says it must be brought to an end, the question is, how do you want to negotiate with a Fulani terrorist to bring it to an end? There can never be an end until the only way is dissolution. I want us to be reminded that Baba Akintoye wrote a letter in May before the massacre in Benue State, warning Tinubu that the longer you are keeping Nigeria together, the longer there will be genocide. And I've highlighted exactly in the paragraph that Baba Akintoye made it known to Tinubu in that letter. And then we will go back to the video of whether what Baba Akintoye said, if Tinubu have listened in May last month, by quickly bringing the owners of Nigeria, because mind you, according to Senior Advocate of Nigeria, Agbakoba, the real owners of Nigeria before Lugard came should be on the round table and discussing the dissolution, but rather Tinubu is talking about going further for another 2027 election that is going to be a disaster and many dead. Let's listen to what Baba Akintoye wrote as I read it out again. We Yoruba must say the following hard things now. They are hard, but it seems that the handlers and those surrounding Tinubu and our governors, our kings, are putting every one of us now in far more danger than what it used to be, because we can hear now that they have helicopter, and Evidence has pointed out that there's helicopter in the past, but I'll bring that to you because we know that the late Malafia told us that when it comes to money, they have the logistics. What they are waiting for is to continue the push until many lives will be killed and the land will be taken over. We know that evidence is pointing out that there is support from the West to these Fulani terrorists. And that has started as far back as when Britain decided to use the Fulani against the Hausas in the northern region during the 1806 when Uthman Dan Fodio invaded, killed, jihad, and now used the north as one of their stronghold and marched into the military, took the power through many coups d'etat, destroyed everything. And today, the same Sultan of Sokoto that I call the devil of Sokoto is still forging ahead with the clan of the Fulani to destroy us. So Babakito said, and I quote to Tinubu, "We Yoruba must say the following hard things now. It is preposterous. It says much about the abominable disease of Nigeria. It highlights part of the picture of Nigeria that have driven us to seek exit from Nigeria. What is seeking our exit is because Nigeria is now a disease cannot be fixed. Nigeria is a cancer that has eaten every part of Nigeria, from corruption to welfare, but most importantly, our stolen identity by Britain in 1914 needs to be returned back so that we can have our own identity like many other countries like China, like India. I watched the Indian Prime Minister with the Canadian. As the Canada was speaking English, the Indian Prime Minister Modi was addressing him back in his language. This is the future Yoruba government that will speak Yoruba and will be translated to the wider audience across the globe. But the purpose of this broadcast in English is to keep it on record because consequences will be activated should our people be intimidated, arrested, and we can pull back this video and says that the government has been warned by letter before the massacre in Benue State. To seek our exit from Nigeria, that a peaceful and law-abiding people like us, Yoruba, are experiencing official persecution, like the Benue State are also, those in the Middle Belt, the Southeast, and the Hausas, intimidation and brutalization in Nigeria. So when anybody is asking us, why do we want to seek our exit out of Nigeria? We are experiencing official persecution, intimidation, and brutalization in Nigeria, and we can no longer tolerate that. Even while we are being brutalized by another people that are Fulani's clan in Nigeria, and whereas that the other people have been threatening all other peoples of Nigeria, we are not just the only one being threatening. Like I said earlier, many other indigenous people have been threatening. And like I said, over 240 innocent people, children were burned to death, and the government have looked away. As I speak to you, it's almost 5 days now, and there's still no arrest because these are people that are having meetings. We have the evidence. The Nigerian government, rather than arrest the terrorists, is having meetings with the same terrorists. And if you think this is something that we are making up for those of you that are friends of Nigeria, whether you're a government, whether you have a business in Nigeria, it is time that you start moving your businesses out of Nigeria because Tinubu is pushing Nigeria into another civil war. These are Fulani terrorists gathering with the Nigerian military somewhere in Castina in the open public, deliberating peace by begging them not to attack anymore. This is the evidence. We don't understand Hausa. What we know is that the government is having what I call a meeting with terrorists. And you wonder what kind of country can this be? You have seen it all, but it's still not yet over. Boko Haram having meeting with Nigeria. What a time to be alive, to exit now before it is too late. Nobody to live in denial that this is not going to become a civil war if we all look away. Ado Aliero wants the Nigerian government to stop calling them terrorists. The video you're watching is in Hausa because they're not interested in English. They're speaking in Hausa and the Fudede. And we're going to show you the quick evidence that pointed out that these individuals do not respect the sovereignty of Nigeria. Rather, they want to take over. Do we all sit back and think that Tinubu will solve this problem? Let us continue our daily rally until it becomes bigger. See on your screen right now. Bandit leader, according to Sahara Reporter, Ado Aliero wants Nigerian government, Tinubu precisely, stop calling us terrorists if you want peace. Do you understand that? Boasting about his role in banditry, this Fulani terrorist claimed he was one of his original mastermind. Yet, you can see the Nigerian army, the Nigerian police in Castina on the open, while millions of Yoruba people that are going out have been told not to carry weapons, but should the government dare try to arrest, intimidate, and pick anyone, there will be serious consequences to such matters. For the international community, this is a terrorist that the federal government, is not the first time, it's not the second time. This article is dated 17th of June 2025. This Ado, a Fulani terrorist, the leader, is boasting that they are the mastermind of all the attacks. The marauders, the ISWAP, the ISIS. And we know that they have some backing. From outside world, especially from Pakistan, that is training these terrorists out to drive and maneuver drones and helicopter that has now been an evidence that we've seen that occurred in Enugu State. As the Yoruba people, don't take this as a joke. Let's listen to other evidence that point out that yes, Pakistan sponsor Boko Haram terrorists right inside Nigeria. Let's watch this video.
Hello and welcome. We start with Nigeria. As the country grapples with a decades-long Islamist insurgency, a new threat has now come to light. now help to Nigerian terrorists may be coming from thousands of miles away from Pakistan. Last week, Nigeria arrested 4 Pakistani nationals for alleged terror links. The arrests were made in...
Did you hear that? 4 Pakistanis were arrested over terror links in the Northeast. Why? What is the purpose? Remember that Pakistan is an Islamic country that has supported so many terrorist attacks across Indian borders and continue to aid and support terrorists. One of such was Bin Laden, that was living right close to the military barracks in Pakistan. Pakistan is one of the most countries that aid and fund terrorism. So we are not surprised, but the question is, can the Yoruba people understand why the push to Islamize Nigeria is still an ongoing project? And if you doubt it, while we continue to play this video, I will give you another evidence to back such. This is Koiki Media bringing the world closer to your doorstep. At exactly few more hours, or few more minutes rather, we will listen to Kayode Mola on the interview granted on the Yoruba Radio Nation TV yesterday on the update of the rally.
Borno State, a hotbed of Nigeria's insurgent activity. Major General Absalam Abubakar, theater commander of anti-terror operations Hadin Kai, revealed shocking details during a security briefing. He said that Pakistani mercenaries have been training Boko Haram and Islamic State terrorists. They have provided both tactical and strategic expertise. With their help, terror groups have become deadlier, using drones for surveillance and attacks, and making sophisticated IEDs and booby traps targeting soldiers. Now, Nigeria has been battling...
Why is Pakistan doing such? Why is Pakistan training Boko Haram terrorists in Nigeria? Someone have the answer for us. And this is the answer.
Is that there are a group of people in this country that feels that this country should be Islamized. This is a fact. Except you want me to start mentioning names of people in this government that we have interrogated. I was a member of an interrogation team, and I've interrogated a very high-ranking member of this government in 2007, 2008 on issue of Boko Haram. I interrogated him. He's in this government right now. And what was the issue? Boko Haram. And this senior officer was actually let go because he was found culpable. But right now he's in the government. You see, we must say the truth, because if you don't, this country is going down the precipice. We have been set back more than 60 years right now. We've gone back to the time before 1966 now. And whoever is coming back to repair this country has a lot of work to do.
And that person currently now is Tinubu, but is not doing nothing more than the fact that it's adding more problem to what is currently happening. As we move swiftly because of our time, and listen now to update coming from the deputy leader of the Yoruba Nation Self-Determination in Diaspora, Kayode Mola, and we will come back to the final article, failed state, and we will bring the broadcast to an end. Thank you so much for everyone that have joined us so far. And once again, a very good morning. As we take you now to listen to Kayode Mola while he was speaking yesterday, giving us all the updates And what next that we have been told to start on June 12th.
tó àdúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ Ọlọ́run ọba ẹ káàbọ̀ padà bẹ́ẹ̀ bá ṣe ń darapọ̀ mọ́ wa lórí ètò lónìí ètò yìí tó wa òun náà ní o Yorùbá Nation Rally Update òun náà ní ó ń dé sí gbòyìn láti lè ṣe wa Yorùbá Nation Radio TV bàbá wa Káyọ̀dé ẹ̀mọ̀lá wà lórí ètò pẹ̀lú wa bàbá ẹ bá káwọn ará ilé o.
mo kí n lẹ́ẹ̀kan sí o Ọlọ́run á wà pẹ̀lú wa o.
Àmín.
ètò tá a rìn Ọlọ́run àgbẹ̀ wa dé ilẹ̀ ìlérí o.
Àmín àmín ẹ wá bá wa dárúkọ yín ní kíkún fáwọn èèyàn àti ipò tẹ́ wà ní YSDM.
Káyọ̀dé ẹ̀mọ̀lá lórúkọ mi èmi ni deputy national leader diaspora.
ẹ káàbọ̀ sórí ètò ẹ ṣeun àdúpẹ́ bàbá wa ẹ̀mọ̀lá náà ni ẹ ti gbọ́ wọn lórí ètò àwọn náà láti máa fọ̀rọ̀ jùmí tó rọ̀ lónìí bàbá ẹ jẹ́ ká ti bí ìbẹ̀rẹ̀ wípé tá a máa ń sọ̀rọ̀ nípa ọ̀rọ̀ YSDM kí ni nǹkan tí YSDM yìí gín ló dúró fún ganan.
YSDM ó jẹ́ àpè ní Yorùbá self-determination movement ẹgbẹ́ tó kó gbogbo ẹgbẹ́ jọ fún ìjàngbara orílẹ̀-èdè Yorùbá. Ní ìgbà tá a bẹ̀rẹ̀ ìrìnàjò yìí ní 2019-2020 kálukú ló wá ń dá ẹgbẹ́ sílẹ̀ ìgbà yẹn olúkálukú ń dá ẹgbẹ́ sílẹ̀ bí àṣà àwa Yorùbá yóò sí nǹkan kan tó burú nù ẹ̀ àmọ́ àwọn international community sọ wọ́n advice wa pé tá a bá ṣe bẹ́ẹ̀ ìrìn àjò wa ó máa pẹ́ pé gbogbo wa kóra jọpọ̀ lójú kan ká wá ja ìjà yẹn pé ìgbà yẹn ni ìjà yẹn á tó lójútùú òun ni gbogbo ẹgbẹ́ ọwọ́ kóra wọn ìjà wa máa jẹ́ self-determination movement ó jẹ́ ibi tí olúkálùkù wa máa ṣe tó bá fi kan self-determination nígbà tí máa sọ̀rọ̀ Yorùbá nation.
ẹ ṣeun tá a bá ń sọ nípa ọ̀rọ̀ rally kí ni nǹkan tí ẹ rò débi ọ̀rọ̀ rally yìí gan-an tó fi wáyé.
ṣe mọ̀ pé rally àwọn èèyàn ló ń bẹ̀rẹ̀ nípa rally jẹ́rí ìgbà tá a bẹ̀rẹ̀ rally yẹn ìgbà tá a dẹ̀ bẹ̀rẹ̀ abẹ̀rẹ̀ ní kékeré ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ ní kò tiẹ̀ mọ̀ pé wọ́n wá gbé nǹkan ńlá.
Bear with us.
Àṣewádìí ní Ogun State. Àti láyé ní Abẹ́òkúta. Àṣe ní Òṣogbo. Àṣe ní Ìbàdàn. Àmọ́ àwa gbé dé Àkúrẹ́. Gbígbé tá a gbé dé Àkúrẹ́. Èrò ẹ wá wèrò ìgbà tá a máa gbọ́dọ̀ Àkúrẹ́ àwa dé Èkìtì èrò tó wá sí Èkìtì ó tún wá á rò pé Èkìtì kúkú kéré ju Àkúrẹ́ lọ àwọn èèyàn tó máa wá sí Èkìtì wọn ò ní pọ̀ nígbà tó rí èrò ní Èkìtì ẹ̀rù wá bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí ń ba ìjọba.
kábíyèsí Ọlọ́run.
láti wá àkọ́ṣe sí o. Ibi tí wọ́n ti wá bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí àwọn ìjọba mùjẹmùjẹ Nàìjíríà wọ́n bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí ibi sí wa. This time around, rally yẹn kò wá dínkù o. Àwa wò pé ká gbé rally yẹn ká túbọ̀ ṣe ní 2022. 2021 yẹn wọ́n lọ sílé ìkọ́nú àwọn leaders wa olóyè Sunday Igboho.
Ilé olóyè.
Ọdún fẹ̀mí ẹ̀ wéwu Ọlọ́run ló yọ lọ́jọ́ ẹ̀. Ẹ jẹ́ ká tún jáde àmọ́ sábàbí wá wà àwọn nǹkan tó wá darapọ̀ mọ́ wa ní 2022 àṣẹ ìjàmbá lọ́wọ́ ṣe fún wa. Làwa wò pé ẹ jẹ́ ká ní sùúrù, ẹ jẹ́ ká fojú inú wò. Àṣẹ àwọn kan gbà yẹn politicians ló ń ṣiṣẹ́ fún. Àmọ́ wọ́n wá sọ pé wọ́n sòkè dilẹ̀, wọ́n sọlẹ̀ di òkè. Ìgbà tá a dẹ̀ ní òkè ká jáde ní 2022 pé kò ní sí election Nàìjíríà lórílẹ̀-èdè Yorùbá. Ọwọ́ ń dẹ pápẹ́ sí wa. Àwa wò pé pápẹ́ tó tẹ̀ sí wa yìí tá a bá kọ́ àwọn ọmọ wa síta àìfàìmọ̀ kọ́ máa wá bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí pa àwọn ọmọ wa. Làbá ní ẹ jẹ́ ká sún sẹ́yìn díẹ̀. Àgbò tó dẹ̀ fà sẹ́yìn kì í ṣe pé ọ̀lẹ ni
agbára ló mú wá.
Ìgbà tí Tinubu dẹ̀ ti wọ presidency lè bá tábàdíkà jáde immediately wọn ní àwọn pípò yìí wọ́n fẹ́ bà presidency ẹ̀ jẹ́. Yorùbá ló ṣe Yorùbá, wọn ò jẹ́ kó ṣe gbá ọ̀ṣẹ́ jẹ́ kó ṣàrò. Àwọn á dẹ̀ mọ̀ pé tí Tinubu is one person. Yorùbá nation is millions of people that got there. Tinubu padà parí ẹ̀ jù kò lè lo 100 years nílé ayé yìí. Tó bá tún strong jù ó lo 120. But Yorùbá nation will continue to remain forever.
Bẹ́ẹ̀ni.
So irú legacy wo la fẹ́ wá fi sílẹ̀ fáwọn ọmọ wa? Ṣàfẹ́ ti torí ohun tẹ́nìkan fẹ́ jẹ fọ́dún méje káwa fi jeopardize ìgbésí ayé millions of people. Àmọ́ a ní ká ní sùúrù káwò. Ọdún kan ti lọ, ọdún méjì ti lọ. Nàìjíríà ò wá rọgbọ, wá dẹrùn fún anybody. La fi wò pé àwa ò tún lè dúró fún ọdún méje ọdún mẹ́jọ kí àwa máa jẹ àwọn èèyàn wa. A ti rí bí ọdún méjì Tinubu ṣe rí. Ọdún méjì ẹ̀ tó kù a rò pé ó lè ṣàǹfààní fún Yorùbá. Wọn ò tiẹ̀ sọ̀rọ̀ lọ báwo ni Yorùbá ṣe ọ̀rọ̀ bí wọ́n yìí máa ṣe second term lọ ń wà. Tá a bá dẹ̀ pin ní Benue lọ́sẹ̀ tó kọjá mọ́ ọ̀sẹ̀ yìí over 200 people in one night. Iraq àti Iran àti Israel tó tiẹ̀ ń jà gan bọ́ǹbù síra wọn. We know how many people have died. Ká má wá sọ ibi tí within the same nation o. Kí ìjọba dẹ̀ kọ́ dẹ̀ dákẹ́. Tá a bá rò pé kò tí ì wọnú yàrá wa ó ti ń bá wa sùn. Ikú ó ti ń bá wa sùn. Òun la fi ní ẹ̀yin ọmọ Yorùbá ẹ jẹ́ ká tètè múra ká tètè fẹ́ ẹ̀hónú wa hàn pé àwa ò ní tiwa o àṣẹ Nàìjíríà mọ́ o. Orílẹ̀-èdè Yorùbá ọ̀nà la fẹ́ ní.
Káyọ̀dé Mọ̀lá náà ni à ń gbóhùn ẹ̀ tí ó ń bá wa sọ̀rọ̀ fún àǹfààní èyí tí ẹ bá ń darapọ̀ mọ́ wa lórí ìkànnì wa Koiki Media, bringing the world closer to your doorsteps. Abala ilé náà ni a máa kásẹ̀ ńlẹ̀ nígbà tí a ti sọ̀rọ̀ nípa oríṣiríṣi ní abala àkọ́kọ́. Eléyìí náà ni láti fi jẹ́ kí gbogbo ọmọ Yorùbá mọ̀ pé self-determination tá à ń jà fún ẹ̀tọ́ wa ní Deputy Yoruba Nation Self-Determination Káyọ̀dé Mọ̀lá òun ló ń bá wa sọ̀rọ̀ lọ́wọ́ lórí ìkànnì Yoruba Nation Radio and TV tó ṣe lánàá. Ẹ jẹ́ ká padà síbẹ̀ ká tó gbọ́ díẹ̀ nípa ohun tó sọ ká tó máa tẹ̀síwájú.
Ẹ ṣeun bàbá wa Mọ̀lá. Koiki Media mo rọ́wọ́ yín, ẹ ṣeun adúpẹ́ bí wọ́n ṣe ń bá wa ṣíà náà ni wọ́n ń láìkì náà ń kọ́mẹ́ǹtì. Ẹ ṣeun adúpẹ́, ẹ ṣe gan. Bàbá wa Mọ̀lá náà ni wọ́n wà ní orí ètò pẹ̀lú wa. Adeleke Sodiq arọ́wọ́ yín, Thomas Mercy arẹ́yìn náà, Adébọ́lá Adùnní arọ́wọ́ yín, Táíwò Abdullahi arọ́wọ́ yín, Asimolowo Rachel arọ́wọ́ tí náà ẹ bá ṣíà kí wọ́n bá wa láìkẹ̀. Bàbá wa Mọ̀lá, ẹ jẹ́ kí n béèrè ìbéèrè kan lọ́wọ́ yín kó tó di pa á tún tẹ̀síwájú. Báwo ni àwọn òyìnbó, ẹ já sọ ìtàn díẹ̀, báwo ni àwọn òyìnbó, báwo ni wọ́n ṣe discover Africa gangan kó tó di pé wọ́n wá kó àwọn bàbá wa lẹ́rú?
Ṣé rí ọ̀rọ̀ Africa yẹn ibi tí ìṣòro wa ti bẹ̀rẹ̀. Nítorí tá a bá mọ ibi tí ìṣòro wa ti bẹ̀rẹ̀, mo bá ṣe máa bọ́nú ẹ̀.
Ó yá.
So ibi tó ti bẹ̀rẹ̀, ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ ni ò mọ̀ pé Áfíríkà òun ló ní ọrọ̀ ilé ayé yìí. Kò sí nǹkan tọ́lọ́run fi kẹ́ wa, especially àwa nílẹ̀ Yorùbá, kò sí nǹkan tọ́lọ́run fi kẹ́ wa. Ọlọ́run fi agbami ó fi kẹ́ wa, ó fi river, pé bí agbami ṣe wà yẹn, rivers kéékèèké ló ń bọ̀. Ọlọ́run fi kẹ́ wa, Ọlọ́run fi sámà tó dá ó fi kẹ́ wa, ó fi ilẹ̀ tó dá ó fi kẹ́ wa, ó fún wa ní mineral resources, ó tún wá fún wa ní human resources. So nǹkan tọ́lọ́run fi kẹ́ wa ó pọ̀. Nílẹ̀ Yorùbá nìkan we have over 34 minerals.
Kábíyèsí Ọlọ́run. Kábíyèsí Ọlọ́run.
Over 34. Tí ilẹ̀ Yorùbá bá dá dúró lè ní, ilẹ̀ Yorùbá will be produced 500 million barrels of oil in a day. Bitumen ta ní, taba mine here for the next 500 years. Ó yìí máa pọ̀ síbẹ̀.
500 years.
For the next 500 years. Gbogbo ọ̀nà tó dá lọ́nà, a máa rí nǹkan fi ṣe ọ̀nà wa. The only country tó tún ní bitumen tó pọ̀ jù wá lọ ní Canada. Àwa náà ní. In abundance. Tá a dẹ̀ lè fi ṣe ọ̀nà. Èyí tó wá parí ẹ̀ jù ní human resources. The population wa ò pọ̀ jù, ò kéré jù. We are big enough to be a world power. We are big enough to be a world power. Àmọ́ ibi tí a ti wá bẹ̀rẹ̀, tí àwa ti bẹ̀rẹ̀, ó bẹ̀rẹ̀ láti 1526. Mà pé 500 years ń ṣe ẹrú láti ṣe ẹrú bọ̀. Adé láti kọ́, aláti fọ́ igbá yẹn. Nítorí wọ́n pe arákùnrin kan ní Mansa Musa. Arákùnrin yẹn, he was the king of Mali. He was the king of Mali. sí Mẹ́kà ó fẹ́ lọ gbàdúrà ìgbà tó fẹ́ lọ gbàdúrà ní Mẹ́kà ní around 14th century ó wá gba Egypt ìgbà tó gba Egypt kọjá owó tó ń ṣàn lára káàtì ẹ̀ ká àwọn horse cattle ló máa ń lò ní àtijọ́ àwọn gold tó bọ́ lára ẹ̀ ó bankrupt Egypt.
Kábíyèsí Ọlọ́run.
Ó bankrupt Egypt around that 14th century. Ibẹ̀ ni òyìnbó ti bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí fi ojú sí ara wa ní Áfíríkà pé àṣé àwọn kan lówó àwọn kan lówó tó. That same Mansa Musa ó ti sponsor over 1,500 boats kó lọ sí Brazil on trade bọ̀. This was before Columbus tó lóun lọ discover America discover kankan. So
gbogbo eléyìí ni a ṣe ń sọ fáwọn èèyàn wa pé ẹ túbọ̀ ẹ̀ ká máa jáde bí wọ́n ṣe ní ká jáde èní ní ọjọ́ 8 tó ní ká jáde ẹgbọ́n tí Káyọ̀dé Mọ̀lá ń sọ ẹ wo bí tí a wà lénìí ká wo bí tí à ń lọ lọ́la tá bá ní ká wo ibi tí a wà lénìí àti ibi tó yẹ ká ti dé ó jẹ́ kó mú wa ní igbá àyà jù báyìí lọ ẹ jẹ́ ká tẹ̀lé ìlànà tí wọ́n fi sílẹ̀ kí a lè jọ délẹ̀ lérí torí pé ìlànà tó fi sílẹ̀ àwọn tó fi sílẹ̀ wọ́n mọ ìdí pàtàkì àti kókó a máa gbọ́ díẹ̀ nínú èyí tí Káyọ̀dé Mọ̀lá tó ń bá wa sọ lọ ẹ jẹ́ ká padà sórí ẹ̀ lórí ìkànnì wa náà lẹ́ṣẹ̀ wà táwọn pè ní Koiki Media bringing the world closer to your doorstep mú kí gbogbo ẹni tí ẹ darapọ̀ mọ́ wa the first 2 hours èdè Gẹ̀ẹ́sì la fi sọ̀rọ̀ nítorí pé ó nídìí gbogbo ọmọ Yorùbá ní kọ̀ọ̀kan là ń bá sọ̀rọ̀ lórí ìkànnì wa international media ní bíbáyìí a dẹ̀ ti wà níbi tí a gbọ́dọ̀ báwọn èèyàn sọ̀rọ̀ níta torí wọ́n ti fi máa gbọ́n tá à ń sọ nísìnyí pé gbogbo ìṣẹ̀lẹ̀ tí a sọ nípa tí a bẹ̀rẹ̀ ní 2 hours fáǹfààní àwọn tó gbọ́ Gẹ̀ẹ́sì òun náà ni ìkìlọ̀ fún President Bola Tinubu lórí ìjàmbá tó ń ṣẹlẹ̀ nínú Nàìjíríà pé kò sí nǹkan tó lè ṣe ju pé kó pin kólúkálukú máa lọ èyí tó ṣẹlẹ̀ ní Benue bẹ́ẹ̀ bá rò pé ó máa dáwọ́ dúró irọ́ lápá kò ní dáwọ́ dúró èyí tó ń bọ̀ ní ilẹ̀ Yorùbá àìtí mọ̀ ní Enugu a gbọ́ pé helicopter ló fi ń já àwọn Fúlàní wálẹ̀ tó ń pa àwọn èèyàn helicopter yẹn ò dẹ̀ tún lọ ẹ̀rí dẹ̀ sọ fún wa pé Pakistan wọ́n ń train àwọn Boko Haram nínú Nàìjíríà gbogbo eléyìí àti lẹ́tà àti gbogbo ìdí pàtàkì lọ́tún lósì àti bí Iskilu Wakilu tí ó sá lọ nígbà tí àwọn ẹmẹ̀wẹ̀ tó wá jí gbé nínú Abolongo títí di bá ṣe ń sọ̀rọ̀ yìí kò sẹ́ni tó mọbi tó wà lára wọn náà ni wọ́n wá ṣe jàǹbá ní Ìbàdàn ní Bódìjà nígbà tí bomb blast ṣẹlẹ̀ gbogbo eléyìí náà ni a ṣàlàyé fáwọn tó wà níta àti àwọn àgbáyé pé kó kìlọ̀ fún Tinubu kó fa ọwọ́ aṣọ ẹ̀ mọ́ etí bí ọmọ Yorùbá kan tó ń jáde lọ́wọ́lọ́wọ́ nísìn torí pé Tinubu sọ ní Benue State ó ń bi IG pé kí ló dé tẹ̀ tí arrest ẹnìkankan èyí tó arrest lánàá kí ló fi wọ́n ṣe má arrest àwọn ọmọ tó wà níta tó ń ṣe Yorùbá nation ìkìlọ̀ ni o ẹni tó bá dẹ̀ kìlọ̀ fún tó bá gbọ́ kò ní sí wàhálà nígbà táwọn ìlú méjèèjì tó ń kìlọ̀ fira wọn tó gbọ́ ìyẹn Iran àti Israel amọ̀bi tó já sí báyìí ẹ kìlọ̀ fún Tinubu o kó má mú àwọn ọmọ tó wà níta tó ń ṣe rálì níwọ̀nba tí wọ́n ṣe rọra ń ṣe ìkìlọ̀ ni o òun náà ni gbogbo ń ta sọ lédè òyìnbó ní ráńpẹ́ fáwọn tí wọ́n gbọ́ ń ta sọ ẹ jẹ́ ká padà sọ́dọ̀ Káyọ̀dé Mọ̀lá kó tó di pé ètò yìí a máa mú wálẹ̀. lórí ìkànnì wa náà la ṣe wà ní aago 5:30 òun náà ló lù lọ́wọ́lọ́wọ́ ẹ̀.
àwọn òyìnbó tí ń wá 1300 1400 1500 yẹn 1526 lọ kó the first set of slaves kúrò nílẹ̀ Áfíríkà torí àwọn míì rò pé a ti bọ́ ní oko ẹrú sì ni wá ó kàn yẹ pé ẹrú ti sìn ó yàtọ̀ sí ti àwọn bàbá wa tó ń da chain bọ̀rùn wọn. Wọ́n ṣáà ń kó wọn lẹ́rú up until from that 1526 to 1833 to abolish Africa and some other countries. Ọ̀wà ní òkè ẹ jẹ́ ká máa padà sílé wa ká lọ máa mójútó ilé wa. Àmọ́ ìgbà tó fẹ́ padà lọ ní Britain bá rí pé French ti fẹ́ colonize gbogbo Africa tán coming from the north wọ́n ti colonize Morocco, Tunisia, Algeria, Niger, Burkina Faso, Mali wọ́n ṣàǹgbá gbogbo ẹ̀ lọ ní British bá wò pé àmọ́ ẹ ti lè lọ ẹ jẹ́ ká padà British fi sá padà lọ́wọ́ wà lè bá French jà látòkè lọ́wọ́ bá French jà láti ìsàlẹ̀ lọ́ fi wá gba ilẹ̀ Yorùbá lẹ́nu torí àwọn wọ́n ti kó à ń ta ẹrú fún wọn pẹ̀ wọ́n ti kó wa lẹ́rú nígbà yẹn torí àwọn èèyàn rò pé colonization is not slavery it is slavery wọ́n kó wa lẹ́rú so eléyìí kì í ṣe pé wọ́n kó wa ká lọ sílẹ̀ wọn lọ develop ẹ̀ àwa ṣiṣẹ́ nílẹ̀ wa gbogbo àlùmọ́nì tó wá wà ń bẹ̀ ọwá kó wa sílẹ̀ wọn
kábíyèsí
tó ń lo òkú wa so ìgbà tó yá làwọn fúnra wọn Ọlọ́run ló tún rán world war sí wọn ọjà first one ọjà second one lẹ́yìn second world war yẹn lọ́ba ni ó tú wa sílẹ̀ bẹ́ẹ̀ títú tó tú wa sílẹ̀ yẹn wọn ò tú wa sílẹ̀ pé ká lè di èèyàn ká ní òmìnira ara rẹ̀ ṣé aláti padà wá gba àṣẹ lọ́wọ́ wọn.
lọ́dọ̀
àwọn ìyẹn wá túmọ̀ sí pé ẹ lè ṣàǹfààní fúnra yín láì sí ọwọ́ wọn bẹ̀ tó àwa ò lè ṣe àǹfààní fúnra tí ò ń ṣègbè àwa máa ṣe àǹfààní. àǹfààní wa àtọwọ́ wọn ló ti máa wá òun la fẹ́ kọ̀ so a rí bí Nàìjíríà ṣe rí bó ṣe dà á ríboríbo àwa di pé àwa rò pé slavery ti tán bẹ́ẹ̀ ní ìsìn àwa san owó to become slave again. ẹ mọ̀ pé tẹ́lẹ̀ àwọn èèyàn àwọn kó wa ní lọ́fẹ̀ẹ́ lófo tá a sanwó tó ń kó wa ká lọ tún ìlú wọn ṣe ká tọ́jú ilé wọn ká tọ́jú ọ̀nà wọn bẹ́ẹ̀ ní ìsìn àwa la tún san owó láti wá di ẹrú. àwa ò pé tí ilẹ̀ Áfíríkà yẹn ò bá tí a ní jẹ́ wá lọ gba àyè lọ́wọ́ wọn a lè bọ́ òun la dé ní Nàìjíríà kan ló máa pín wa àwa fúnra wa la máa pín Nàìjíríà torí tó bá pín wa wọn ò fi wá sílẹ̀ o wọ́n yìí máa dè wá síbi tó dè wá òun la ṣe ní ta ló máa bẹ̀ sí àwa fúnra wa la máa gba ara wa sílẹ̀ kì í ṣe àwọn ló máa gbà wá sílẹ̀ o òun la fi ní bí a dìde ká túyáyá ká túyáyá ká jáde ká fi ẹ̀hónú wa ṣẹ́rí Arab Spring tó bẹ̀rẹ̀ 2011 ní Tunisia tẹ́nì kọ́kọ́ da petrol sí ara ẹ̀ kó pé yọ kọ́kọ́ sí ó kà ó pé ilé ayé yóò ṣe kìíní pé dá iná tí ra ẹ̀ lára nìyẹn bí Arab Spring ti bẹ̀rẹ̀ a rí ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ náà àwọn heads of state yẹn tó níwọ̀n lè ẹ́fà kúrò ń bẹ̀ èmi ìbá lọ even Sudan Bashar al-Assad former president of Sudan kò sí bẹ́ẹ̀ ṣe máa rò pé máà nìyẹn ò ever kúrò ń bẹ̀ inú ẹ̀wọ̀n ló wà ń sìn o. Inú òun la fi ní àwa Yorùbá àwa la láti bí fúnra wa torí kò sí ìdábàlá fẹ́ lọ bá Amẹ́ríkà kó wá gbà wá sílẹ̀ à ń tọ́ra wa o. Tábàdẹ̀ ní a fẹ́ lọ lágbára kan bẹ̀dá tó fẹ́ tira wa sí ọ̀rọ̀ alágbára míì. Àmọ́ collectively together we have power. Tí gbogbo wa bá dìde kò sí force náà nílé ayé yìí ló lè stop wa. Òun la fi ní. Báàlì yìí ó gbogbo wa láti dìde o. Gbogbo wa láti dìde. Àwọn bàbá wa níjọ́sí kí bàbá wa ọba Fẹ́mi Awólọ́wọ̀. Ẹ̀kọ́ káwọn èèyàn wa ló ṣe protest ní 1949.
Bẹ́ẹ̀ni.
Wọn ò ní sọ gbogbo yẹn o. Bẹ́ẹ̀ àwọn èèyàn wa jáde. Àwọn èèyàn wa jáde ní 1949. Òun ló fi gbà wá sílẹ̀ o. Ìgbà tó àwọn òyìnbó gbé dábàá tètè fún àwọn wọ́n fi fún wa ní self rule. Wọ́n fún wa ní full independence, wọ́n fún wa ní self rule. But nísìn a máa bọ́ o.
Láṣẹ Èdùmàrè.
A máa bọ́.
Láṣẹ Èdùmàrè.
A máa bọ́. Rálì tá a dẹ̀ pé a ní ká kò yé àwọn èèyàn.
Ẹ bá a ṣàlàyé ọ̀rọ̀ rálì yìí dáadáa fáwọn èèyàn.
Now mo fẹ́ ká farabalẹ̀ ká gbọ́ bíbá yìí dáadáa fáǹfààní àwọn tí wọ́n ń béèrè pé bí rálì ṣe bẹ̀rẹ̀ kí ló dé tó bẹ̀rẹ̀ báyìí àti pé kí ni àwọn ìdí tí bàbá ṣe ní kó ṣe rálì yìí bó ṣe ń ṣe yìí. Gbogbo yìí náà ni àwa ti ṣàlàyé tẹ́lẹ̀. Mo kí gbogbo ẹ̀yin tẹ́ ṣe wà lórí ìjókòó lẹ́ẹ̀kan sí o. Ọlọ́run á jẹ́ kí a tètè rí orílẹ̀-èdè ilẹ̀ Yorùbá gbà láìpẹ́ láì jìnnà kí a lè jọ nísinmi. Láìpẹ́ láì jìnnà a máa bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí ní àwòrán tó máa jáde lórí TikTok wa lórí ìkànnì wa Koiki Media. Ẹni tó bá ti tẹ̀lé wa lórí TikTok ẹ darapọ̀ mọ́ wa lórí ẹ̀ torí pé iṣẹ́ ti débẹ̀ lórí TikTok wa tá à ń pè ní Koiki Media. Live ó máa bẹ̀rẹ̀ lórí ẹ̀ láìpẹ́ láì jìnnà nítorí pé approval ti wá fún wa láti máa ṣe live lórí ẹ̀ fáǹfààní àwọn tí ó jẹ́ pé ibẹ̀ ni àwọn tí máa ń wo gbogbo nǹkan tó ń lọ lórí orí social media. Let me leave it like that. So TikTok on Koiki Media. Just one phrase, Koiki Media. Every picture ma àti olóyè Ìgbòho lórí ẹ̀. Ẹ lọ follow wa lórí ẹ̀. Kẹ́ lè máa jàǹfààní. I believe we have just about 25 minutes to start with lórí ẹ̀. At least ìyẹn á sì bẹ̀rẹ̀ nǹkan kan. Díẹ̀díẹ̀ I go further. Mo kí gbogbo alẹ́ nǹkan sí i. Káyọ̀dé mọ̀ la fi bá wa sọ bí rálì yẹn bó ṣe ní kó bẹ̀rẹ̀ níbi tó bẹ̀rẹ̀ àti pé níbo ló ń lọ. Gbogbo ilé náà ni à ń gbéyẹ̀wò lórí abala kejì broadcast wa. Nígbà tó bá máa fi pé 3 hours to the dot broadcast yẹn máa wálẹ̀. The first 2 hours was a presentation tá a ṣe ní èdè Gẹ̀ẹ́sì. Ó nídìí torí pé bí ṣe sọ international platform tó engage other media platform. Nígbà tásìkò bá tó gbogbo àwọn fídíò tá a ṣe ní English wá rí lò nígbà tí a bá fẹ́ lò fún evidence. Eléyìí tá à ń ṣe lọ́wọ́ nísìn òun ni tèdè Yorùbá nígbà tí Káyọ̀dé mọ̀lá tó sọ̀rọ̀ lánàá lórí Yorùbá Nation Radio TV lórí ìkànnì tó ń gbé ohùn jáde nípa rally. Mo kí gbogbo ẹ̀yin tẹ́ wà lórí ìjókòó. Ẹ jẹ́ ká padà sórí broadcast yẹn.
Rally náà pé a ní kí àwọn èèyàn ní àdúgbò wọn ní ìletò wọn ní ilé wọn ẹni tó tó bá ní òun jáde òun lọ síbi iṣẹ́ ó yìí lè lọ bí iṣẹ́. Àwa bá àwọn tó ń ṣe gbogbo wọ́n jọ máa ṣe lọ ni. Wọ́n jọ máa ṣe lọ ni. So wọ́n á dẹ̀ máa ṣe díẹ̀ bẹ́ẹ̀ yẹn. We have over 50 million. Táwọn èèyàn wá, people are innovative. People will do it the way they understand it. Before you know it, ẹlẹ́yìn máa ní òun fẹ́ kí tiẹ̀ kó ga ju tiẹ̀ lọ. Òun ìyá ní kó fẹ́ kí tiẹ̀ ṣe kínní. Before you know it, it will become innovative. And then people would build it and build the momentum. Inú ẹ̀ ló ti máa wá bí mega rally. Inú ẹ̀ láti máa wá bí mega rally. Tí ó máa wá gbaná tí gbogbo àgbáyé rí pé náà gbogbo Yorùbá ló fẹ́. Àmọ́ ọlá bíi pé gbogbo rally tá a ti máa ń ṣe tẹ́lẹ̀. Bíi pé gbogbo rally tá a máa ń ṣe tẹ́lẹ̀. A máa ń pe ó yá gbogbo yẹn máa bọ̀ níbàdàn olúkálùkù àwa múra wá gbéra. Ẹ̀ka wò pé tá a bá ní ká ṣe irú ìyẹn. Púpọ̀ náà tó bá wá lọ́jọ́ ẹ̀ wọ́n fẹ́ padà sílé. Bẹ́ẹ̀ni. Wọ́n fẹ́ padà sí. Adẹ̀ ní àfẹ́ ṣe irú ẹ̀ tá a máa ṣe lọ́jọ́ tó máa wá tán síbẹ̀. We want it to continue. Tó máa continue. Adẹ̀ ní ká bẹ̀rẹ̀ díẹ̀. Kó wá dé ibi tí wá di pé lóòótọ́ gbogbo àwọn Yorùbá wọn ló ti ṣe tán. Gbogbo ilé ló ti gbọ́. Kò ní di pé àwọn kan lọ́pàá kó àwọn sí àdúgbò kan tó ń parí ní so bó ṣe rí nìyẹn o.
Ẹ ṣeun comrade Káyọ̀dé Mọ̀lá. Látìgbà tí protest àbí rally tó ti bẹ̀rẹ̀ òní ló pé ọjọ́ méje tó bẹ̀rẹ̀ báyìí. Ǹjẹ́ a ní àṣeyọrí láti àwọn gbogbo ilẹ̀ Yorùbá tó ń lọ́dọ̀ yín pé níbí yìí o wọ́n ṣe báyìí o wọ́n ṣe dáadáa Ọlọ́run wọ́n ṣe báyìí wọ́n ṣe dáadáa o. Ǹjẹ́ àṣeyọrí ìjà kọ́lé àṣeyọrí wà láti ọjọ́ méje sẹ́yìn?
Ṣé ẹ gbọ́ mi?
À ń gbọ́ yín dáadáa.
Ṣé ẹ rí àṣeyọrí ó dìpẹ́ǹdì bá bá ṣe ká àṣeyọrí. Ṣé ẹ rí ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ nínú àwọn èèyàn wa ló yé. Àwọn tó dẹ̀ yé yẹn gbogbo wọn ló ń ṣe bó ṣe yé wọn sí. Àmọ́ púpọ̀ nínú àwọn èèyàn wa ni kò yí ó yẹ ká tún wá tún ṣàlàyé fún wọn tó ti yé yín.
Ẹ ṣàlàyé.
Pé kò dìgbà pé ó yá ẹ̀yin tẹ́ wà lẹ́kìtì ẹ máa bọ̀ lóńdó ẹ̀yin tẹ́ wà lóńdó ẹ máa bọ̀ lọ́yọ̀ọ́ àdúgbò yín ni kẹ́ ẹ ti máa ṣe kẹ́ẹ̀dẹ̀ máa ṣe kó máa continue. Tí Ọ̀yọ́ bá gbé tí Èkìtì tún gbé lọ́la tí Ìbàdàn tún gbé lọ́túnla tí Èkó gbé a máa rí pé kíní yìí ó dàbẹ́ ni pé nǹkan kan ṣẹlẹ̀ o. Àmọ́ kò tètè yé àwọn èèyàn wa tó bí àlàyé ni ò tó bẹ̀tẹ̀ nínú àwọn fídíòs tá a ti rí ó yé ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ wọ́n dẹ̀ ṣe bá ṣe sọ and if you count that a lè sọ pé it's a success. Now tẹ́lẹ̀ rally tá a máa ń ṣe ìjọba wa rán sójà wọn á máa pa àwọn èèyàn wa wọn á rán police wọn á máa pa àwọn èèyàn wa àmọ́ eléyìí a máa gbọ́ pé wọ́n pa anybody. Ẹ bá tún wò kejì a máa gbọ́ pé wọ́n ti anybody mọ́lé. So if you count that it's a success on its own.
Àdúpẹ́.
Nítorí ìgbà tí a bá máa wá jáde lẹ́ẹ̀kan náà àwọn náà á rí pé àwọn tí àwọn Yorùbá yìí yàtọ̀. So yes, in terms of success, we can say yes. We've got some few success. Ó lè máa tó nǹkan tá a fẹ́. We didn't do well.
Adúpẹ́.
We didn't make a success of it.
Adúpẹ́. Ẹ ṣeun bàbá wa Comrade Káyọ̀dé Ìmọ̀lá àwọn náà ní àlejò mi lórí ètò ní òní tí wọ́n ti ń bá wa sọ̀rọ̀ nípa Yorùbá Nation Mega Rally alàgbà Daniel Adédèjì Arọ́wọ̀yìn Olúwaṣẹ́gun Ọ̀kẹ́ Arọ́wọ̀yìn Moruf Aliu Arọ́wọ̀yìn Ìdòwú Matthew Arọ́wọ̀yìn Akeem Ọlálẹ́yẹ Arọ́wọ̀tìyìn Adélékè Sodiq Arọ́wọ̀tìyìn náà Ariko Media Ari Thomas Mercy àti àwọn ẹlòmíì. Ẹ jẹ́ kí n mú eléyìí báyìí bàbá wa àwọn nǹkan kan ṣẹlẹ̀ ní Benue State tí ìròyìn yẹn tó ká ilé tó ká oko kódà àwa náà ní fọ́nrán ẹ̀ lọ́wọ́ alù lánàá débi wípé àwọn ọ̀dọ́ ọbẹ̀ àti àwọn kan wọ́n jáde nígbà tí wọ́n jáde ó di pé àwọn ọlọ́pàá wọ́n bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí ní yìnbọn mọ́ wọn wọ́n bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí ní yin tear gas mọ́ wọn. Kí ni ìjẹ́rú eléyìí ò ní padà ṣẹlẹ̀ tí Mega Rally Yorùbá Nation tó bá dé ṣé kò ní ṣẹlẹ̀?
Ṣé ẹ rí òun láti ní àwọn mùjẹmùjẹ Nàìjíríà kò yẹ kó ṣẹlẹ̀ ó tẹ̀lé tó ìtọ́fún yín pé kò ní ṣẹlẹ̀ àmọ́ àwọn ọlọ́pàá Nàìjíríà àmọ́ kan tó sọ fún wọn nǹkan máa gbàyàn wọ́n dẹ̀ lè ní kọ́ máa gbàyàn ọ̀kan yìnbọn àbí kọ́ máa yìnbọn èmi kọ́ ni mò ń fún wọn ní ọ̀dà tí omi ò lè sọ ọkọ tó máa ṣe ẹlòmíì àmọ́ ọkọ tó mu bẹ́ẹ̀ ògógóró ló mu kó tó wá síbi iṣẹ́ bẹ́ẹ̀ agbádá ló mu á dẹ̀ wá trigger happy ó lè ní nǹkan tó máa ṣe so nǹkan tá a kàn máa ṣe ni pé àwọn tó dúró tán tó tá a mọ̀ pé tó bá tẹ̀ yìnbọn sí wọn àwọn èèyàn la máa kó síwájú.
Ẹ ṣeun.
nígbà tó bá yin wọ́n yin kejì tó bá ṣe ìfọ̀kàn fún wa àwọn náà máa dáwọ́ dúró pé
ó dà pé àwọn ará bí ìmúra wá o kódà àwọn ará bí ìmúra wá o.
so àwọn tá a ní ká yìnbọn sí ìbọn tá a ṣálàdá dáadáa o àwọn náà máa dáwọ́ dúró pé ilẹ̀ fẹ́ tó bá yìnbọn fún wa tá a bá ti kú kò ti tọ́ nìyẹn ìgbà tó bá yìnbọn tá àwọn ogun ti jà wá rí àwọn ogun tó ti jà wá kò pé wa lọ ogun jà wá ní 2001 nílẹ̀ Ìlàjẹ àti Ìjọ cover 6 states ní Nàìjíríà Ìlàjẹ local government kan péré lọ ní ẹ mọ̀ pé at the end of the day Ìlàjẹ ló borí local government kan péré láyé Ìlàjẹ ló borí. So when you go out like that, it doesn't mean that the people who have more resources or more power will win you. Kì í ṣe bó ṣe rí nìyẹn. Ẹni tó bá ní good tactics and strategy ló máa borí.
Ẹ ṣeun adúpẹ́. Yonka Global Mission Global Media àríyìn o Yonka Global Media Olúwaṣẹ́gun Ọ̀kẹ́ àríyìn àríọwọ́ yín ẹ ṣeun adúpẹ́ no going back. Kó tó di pé mo ní pé ká fi yín lẹ̀kẹ́ máa lọ bàbá wa Káyọ̀dé Ìmọ̀lá àwọn èmi ò báyìí ṣe èmi ò bẹ́lẹ̀ ṣe ó sì wà láàrin àwọn Yorùbá Nation kí ni nǹkan tẹ̀ ń ṣe lé lórí gẹ́gẹ́ bí àdarí. Ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ àwọn kan òun náà ni à ń gbọ́ tí wọ́n ń sọ wùrùwùrù pé àwọn ò báwọn eléyìí ṣe o àwọn báyìí là ń fẹ́ bá ṣe o èmi Paul èmi Apollo ó sì wà láàrin àwọn ajìjàǹgbara Yorùbá Nation ọgbọ́n ò lè dá kí nìkan tẹ́ fẹ́ ṣe láti jẹ́ kí ìṣọ̀kan kó wà láàrin gbogbo wọn.
ẹ̀bẹ̀ la máa bẹ̀ wọ́n ẹni tó lóò bá lè ṣe tó lóò bá ti bí ká ló fẹ́ bá ṣe. nation ni a fẹ́ gbà. Wà la mọ̀ pé ẹnìkan ló fi ayé ẹ̀ sílẹ̀ bàbá wa Banji Akintoye. Yorùbá nation ni o dandan àgbà.
Láṣẹ Èdùmàrè.
So ẹni tó bá mọ̀ pé yes ó ṣe tán láti ṣe ti bàbá wa Professor Banji Akintoye kò ní ìdá tí máa sọ pé òun ṣe gbá òun ò ṣe ìyàwó òun wá bá òun ò bá tẹni bí ṣe. Tá a bá ṣe bẹ́ẹ̀ yẹn a ní débi tá a lọ. So láti come together and work as one. Tá a bá ṣe sọ ẹni báyìí ni màá bá ṣe báyìí ni mi ò ní bá ṣe wá ṣe èyí ọ̀sán yẹn táwọn ọmọ lẹ́yìn wọn kún fọwọ́ sí wọn.
Ẹ ṣeun bàbá wa. Yorùbá Nation Radio TV náà láwà tá a ti ń dábí ẹ̀dọ̀ tá à ń rọ̀ yóò wè.
tó òun náà ni èmi àti láti ń gbọ́ láti ìgbà díẹ̀ lórí ìkànnì wa Koiki Media bó ṣe lọ lórí Yorùbá Nation Radio and TV lánàá. A dúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ brother wa Agbókìkí tí wọ́n host program yẹn lánàá. Bẹ́ẹ̀ la kí bàbá wa Káyọ̀dé Ẹ̀mọ̀lá tí wọ́n darapọ̀ mọ́ platform náà. Ibi tí àwa náà máa fẹ́ máa mú ètò yẹn wá sílẹ̀ lálẹ́ yìí mo kí gbogbo wa lẹ́ẹ̀kan sí obìnrin ọmọdé àgbàlagbà tí ẹ darapọ̀ mọ́ wa. Bí a ti ṣe sọ orí TikTok wa a máa bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí wà lórí ẹ̀ àti try lálẹ́ yìí lóru èní. Èyí tí ẹ bá láǹfààní àti rí wò ẹ jẹ́ ká mọ̀ nínú comment section. The live has already gone in the TikTok as I speak to you right now ní aago 5 aago 6 fẹ́ lọ lò is 5:46 a.m. Láti iléeṣẹ́ wa ní Koiki Media níbi command center wa náà ni a ti ń gbé gbogbo ìròyìn wá. Ìròyìn ayọ̀ pé a ṣì wà lórí TikTok, so that is good. Orúkọ mi náà kò tí ì padà. Ẹ ṣé gan ni gbogbo ẹ̀yin tí ẹ darapọ̀. Báwo ni pé mi lè máa dárúkọ gbogbo wa torí pé ọjọ́ ti lọ rẹpẹtẹ, but mo dúpẹ́ fún gbogbo ọmọ Yorùbá àtìlẹ́yìn lórí iléeṣẹ́ wa tí à ń pè ní Koiki Media fún akitiyan yín látara pé ibi tí in the interest so that kí a lè ní better future. Kò sí future kan tí má doubt it rárá, because ó máa wá bí olè lóru náà ni, and that way I say thank you so much. Ibi tí mo dé lóru èní, tó bá tún di ìjọ mi àtúmọ̀ pàdé, mo kí gbogbo alẹ́ nǹkan sí, like I said, I cannot start mentioning all the names because it's already a long one, and